name is Nicole Taylor, and today I'm going to be discussing Joan of Arc. Normally, when someone claims to hear voices that are in your head, they are accused of being crazy. But this was not the case with Joan of Arc. Being a teenager is very hard. We have all been there. Now imagine it is 14th century France and you have been seeing visions. Joan of Arc's life was very short, but it was also very influential and can be broken down into 3 sections. Her early life and childhood, her war campaigns, and her imprisonment and death. First, I would like to examine Joan of Arc's early childhood. Joan of Arc grew up in the small town of France called Domremy. There was nothing interesting about this town, and it was very, very average. According to Alan Williamson, in an article entitled The Biography of Joan of Arc, Joan lived a very average childhood, much like her town. She spent most of her time outside in Meuse River Valley, where she frolicked and played with her friends in the grass. Joan of Arc's family were middle-class farmers, and they all attended church together, which was very normal for 14th century France farmers. Unfortunately, though, war was very, very prevalent during Joan's childhood. A man named Charles was trying to become king and take the throne. And France was in the middle of a war with England, so there was a lot of brutality going back and forth in her area. Next, I would like to talk about Joan of Arc's visions and her quest to lead the army. Joan of Arc obviously had visions, and these led to her leading the army and taking control of the army and leading a lot of battles. According to Jacques Monnet, in an article entitled Joan of Arc, Her Life, Joan and her family were very, very religious. During the 14th century, almost everybody went to church and almost everybody believed in God. So once again, her family was very, very average. Joan's family, as well as Joan of Arc, attended Mass or church twice a day, every single day. When Joan started seeing visions, she kind of kept it to herself at first, because visions were very not heard of amongst villagers. During the 14th century France, only the Pope was able to talk to God, or so that's what they believed. Joan started hearing voices and seeing messages from God and angels that were prompting her to go to battle and lead these armies. Finally, Joan of Arc had a very successful war campaign that unfortunately ended very abruptly. Joan was a good leader right up until her death. According to J.A. Freeman in an article entitled Joan of Arc, Soldier, Saint, and Symbol, Joan's war campaigns were very successful. Because of her visions, Joan was able to command armies of many skilled fighters. This was very unheard of for her time, and because she was only 16, a teenager, a lot of the fighters at first didn't trust her capabilities. Through her visions, Joan was able to orchestrate elaborate battle strategies that led her army to victory against England. But unfortunately, Joan of Arc was betrayed. Instead of being praised for her victories, Joan was imprisoned, where she was locked up in a cell for months, and she was put on trial multiple times before she was eventually burned at the stake. In conclusion, Joan of Arc's early childhood was where her visions began, and they led her to become one of the youngest women to lead an army. However, due to a sad betrayal, her victory was very short-lived. Even though Joan of Arc was just a teenager at the time, she was very influential and impacted history in an extraordinary way. Thank you.